And we'd open 3 presents and pass around. This took anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. By the time it's like, I'm fucking done with this. They ruined opening presents. That's like some Marvel supervillain level shit right there, right? God, I fuck Christmas. This is why I went Jewish and now I celebrate Hanukkah. Anyway, our next comedian is from Newaygo, Michigan. So far away. His name is Rod Stark. And he said not to say this. You could talk to him a little bit. Not too much. Just a little bit. Get over Rod Stark, everyone.
Hello, boys and girls. I am Rod Stark. Thank you all for coming out. Another round of applause for sure for Chad and James. They killed it. James killed it before he got here, so it was already half dead, but great set nonetheless. I am Rod Stark. My comedy is kind of like my sex life. There are a lot of awkward pauses. There are going to be points where you're not quite sure if I've done this before. You'll be pretty confident I can't make money doing it. I'm just happy that you'll stay until I finish. But we're going to have a good time together. And if all goes well, it'll probably end in laughter. Now, just like my jokes, my sex life's come a long way since the 5th grade. That's when I learned about sex on the playground, like we all did it back in the 80s. So we're on the playground, and an older kid that had been held back a couple years, Travis, was nice enough to enlighten us on the ways of women and what sex meant. So he went right into it with the nitty gritty. He said, you know, it's hard work, guys. The first time, you're gonna need a Woody. I didn't have my own, so I borrowed my dad's. I snuck it out of his top drawer, and I stuck it in her, and I crammed her open. So there I was, going to town for 3 or 4 minutes, but I kind of lost track of what I was supposed to do, so I just peed in her and left. He said, so I think I'm gonna be a dad. So he was the coolest kid in 5th grade for another month or 2 until we had health class reproductive unit, and we found out Travis was full of shit. We also learned about masturbation, but during health class masturbation lessons, they don't really go into depth. The gentleman in the back, you two guys, you're gonna learn something today. So in class, they go through the basics, real sterile stuff, it's all right, you get comfortable with your body. So like any, fifth grade boy, I went home and I did my homework. But, it felt okay, but I was like, I don't get it. So I just, I was like, rubbing on yourself in the shower doesn't feel that, it's all right, but I got other things to do. It was like a good 3 or 4 years before one of my friends let me know, you gotta keep going, it gets much better. So, the 8th grade was a lot of long showers into my house. So I was raised the oldest child of my parents. I was actually wanted, unlike James. My mom, when she married my dad, when they decided to get married, she said she wanted a boy and a girl. That's, the American dream. Let's have a boy and let's have a girl. So she was really excited when she got pregnant. It was a few months before they officially got married, so I attended my first wedding 2 months before I was born. Great times. So then, I'm a baby, they're becoming a family. My mom's happy to be a mother. And she's ready to have another one. We're gonna have the girl. So 2 years after I'm born, they pregnant again. And she's sure she's gonna have her girl. They go to the doctor, get the ultrasound and find out she's having a boy. So she starts crying, and after about a week of crying, my dad finally convinced her, it's all right, we'll have another boy, but we could try again. And she's like, no, let's have 2 boys is good. There's no way I'm going to have another kid. So she has my brother. At the hospital, as she's having my brother, Justin, she says to the doctor, just while you're in there, tie my tubes. But back in the 80s, they wouldn't let you get your tubes tied as a younger woman. So the doctor made her a deal. He said, if you still want to have this tube ligation, come back in a year, we'll take care of you. So my mom, like clockwork, 1 year later, she comes to the doctor for her appointment, says, hey, I'm ready to get my tubes tied. Doctor tells her, okay, that's fine. All we got to do is do a pregnancy test, make sure you're not pregnant. And she said, no, that wasn't the deal. We're going to get in there, snip, get it done. And he said, no, rules and regulations. I'm sure it'll be fine, but we got to check. And sure enough, 2 pink lines. She's got another child. She starts crying before they got anywhere with it. The doctor said, hey, we don't know yet. Could be a girl. You could get the girl you wanted. You mentioned you wanted, and she was just convinced she was going to have another boy. Shortly thereafter, she got her fears realized, confirmed, and she was having another boy. So one of my first memories as a child is just my mom crying on and on because she was going to have a 3rd son. She was so angry about it, she decided she was not going to name her 3rd child. She did not want him. So she let my younger brother, Justin, name my brother, my 3rd brother. And he decided, like any 2-year-old kid would do, he was going to name him after his favorite TV show. So he came up with the name Punky Brewster. Even though my mom was not excited about having a 3rd son, she vetoed that name. So he went with Punky Brewster's dog. So my brother is named Brandon. My mom's still working to overcome the fact that she's got 3 sons. I'm 40, my youngest brother Brandon is 37. She might just forgive him in the coming years, but she has not yet. And just to go on about how great of a mother she was and how much she loved her sons, and she repeatedly would pull pranks, whatever, with Brandon, my youngest brother, like any mother would do, right? Any loving mother. She told him that he was found on a doorstep, and that the only reason she kept him is because the orphanage was closed. He was 4 at the time. It took him a little while to recover, and it was the first time I ever heard my grandpa yell. He's screaming at her that she told her son that he was found on the doorstep. The second time I ever heard my grandpa yell was another time involving my mom and my brother. My 2 little brothers decided to go up to the local school that was near our house and play. Normal boys, younger elementary school boys out playing. Unfortunately, the high school had retarded the track. They retarded, we could still say it like that because they just tarred it again. It was retard. But the boys were playing in the tar, and my brother Brandon got tar on his face. Unfortunately, the next day was school pictures, so my mom decided she needed to get all the tar off of his face. And the best solution for that would be an SOS pad. Good news is the tar came off. Bad news is so did half of his cheek. So that was the second time my grandpa ever yelled in my presence and decided to scream and yell. I know he mentioned we had some vets in the crowd. Can I see any hands? Vets? Awesome. My wife's actually here. She's a vet as well. So yeah, give yourself a round of applause. First of all, I was married 14 years ago this month. You can say that, not to her. My first wife, it didn't work out so well. You've heard the saying, happy wife, happy life. She misheard it. She thought it was easy wife, easy life, and she went around a lot. Don't worry, she had a lot of fun, and we're better off for it. I actually this is my 3rd marriage. I know this one will work because, like I said, she's a Air Force vet. so she's used to making bad decisions. She's also a disabled vet, so she's not very fast and can't run away. But yeah, love of my life here. She's also said repeatedly that she wishes we would have met sooner. I'm sure a lot of people say that. I wish we would have met sooner. But after seeing some of her childhood photos, she was a bit of an ugly duckling and a late bloomer, so the feeling is definitely not mutual. I'm super happy we're together now, but I would not have hung around back then. So we came from very different backgrounds. She was from a religious family, very conservative. They didn't even have a TV growing up. And they were very involved in the church, so much so that they used to have men from the church that were, men of the religious persuasion that would stay at their house. And when they were telling me the story, I was like, how did these kids not get diddled? Having all these strange religious men in their house. And then when I saw their pictures, I knew they were safe. On the flip side, my family, like I said, we came up a little bit different. I went to church as a kid, but my parents didn't. In fact, I was the 1994 Faith Baptist Church Bus Rider of the Year. Thank you very much. As an award-winning religious person myself, I still don't understand prayer. I've never figured it out. As a kid, I thought it was maybe because I was just too young. I didn't get it. I knew we bowed our heads and somebody prayed, but were we like giving them our prayer power while they were talking? Were they talking to God for us? Like it never quite made sense. Also, like, what about on Facebook when somebody asks for a prayer and they're just vague, they don't give you any details? Like that's not part of the deal. Like we want the gossip of what we're praying for, so we at least know. There's give and take. We got to get something out of it. Also, I never understood why, like, praying for sports teams or even in war, like, is it just a numbers game where if you have more people on your team that prayed for your team to win, that you win, or that your side of the war wins? And if that's the case, we're in trouble when we go to war with China. I don't know if you guys are big into math, but they got us outnumbered by a few. But yeah, never understood prayer. I always figured with a name like Rod Stark, I had a great name for either being a cult leader or a politician. My slogan would be the same no matter which one I went into. You're light in the dark, Rod Stark. But with the way politics have been going, I'm not sure that would be a good fit. I feel like America's kind of like a college-age girl that's going through weird phases. She went with the black guy for a while. Then she thought about going with a woman, but her family kind of pulled back on her, so now she's just with old guys that are rich. When it comes to politics, I know it can be really divisive, but I think there's one thing we could agree on. We've got something we've got to course correct. I mean, even down to who gets to vote. One of my really good friends, Ryan, we bonded over wrestling, but long story short, he's got Down syndrome. Great guy, Down syndrome. We get the same vote. And, I know this is probably controversial to say, but I don't feel like that's right. I don't think we should get the same vote. I think only one of us should be able to vote, and that's Ryan. See, I think you should have an extra chromosome to vote. And the reason why is I've made a lot of decisions that were not good for me and were counterintuitive to what I even wanted. Ryan is 100% on only doing the shit that he likes. He's only had 100% good days. I deal with depression. I hate myself. Ryan loves himself. He's never had a bad day. So if we want to course correct this country, only those with extra chromosomes get to vote. So therefore, politics, probably not in it for me. So then let's lean into the old cult leader. I think I could do well with that. Talking charismatically, in general, they'll follow pretty much anything as long as you say it with a good tone and a nice smile. I think I got that down. But one of the key elements of a cult leader is you get to fuck everybody's wife. And at my age, it's really not that big of a play for me anymore. Like back in the day, like fucking everybody's wife sounds good, but now it sounds like a lot of work. Even like one-on-one, like once a day, if that, I'm good. When it comes to Netflix and chill, I'd probably rather watch the Netflix than the chill part. I'm comfortable, so maybe neither of those are for me. But overall, I feel like the sex life and all that, I'm much better than I was when I was younger. But there are things that I do miss about the stamina and you could pull off moves back in the day that you could relate. You lose some of your moves as you get older. I kind of feel like Tom Brady in that regard. I'm still friends with a lot of my exes, and I can imagine how weird it would be if one of my exes talked to my wife about our sex life and they kind of like compare notes. And I imagine that's how Tom Brady's past teammates have felt when they've talked about Tom. Like, yeah, he was back in the day, like all the stamina in the world, had all the moves. Now it's more talking about, he's more reserved. He could get it done when he needed to, but also like Tom Brady, we've from the start to the finish, we're just happy to score. I know you're probably thinking, how are you comparing yourself to Tom Brady? Chiseled jawline, rugged good looks, grizzled veteran. But when it came to football, I did play football, but my career was far less luxurious than Tom's. I played for the Grant Tigers of West Michigan. We lost every game my freshman through my junior year. We had all white people, if that surprises you at all. Growing up in Grant, we only had one black kid at a time. I don't think that was a law or anything, it just happened that way. We would not always have the same black kid, but we'd go on summer break and there'd be a new one the next year, and none of them ended up playing football. But when it comes to all that, anybody else here that figured out over the last few years that were you surprised to find out you were racist? I had a sudden real. But before we go too far, I'm not Tiki Torch. You will not replace us racist. I'm the fun-loving, surprise. I didn't know I was racist. Looking back through pictures and reliving childhood memories, I did blackface as a kid more than once, and nobody told me that was bad. It took me until adulthood to figure out that blackface was bad, and it was only because some people got canceled for it. So another reason I probably can't be a politician. The first time was in middle school. I went as Dennis Rodman. So if you're going as Dennis Rodman, you got to color your hair and your face. Went to Grand Rapids. Everybody gave me high fives. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong. The second time, much older, as a junior in high school, we had winter snow coming, and I decided to go as the 70s Michael Jackson. Came with the afro, full blackface, leisure suit, danced all night, took pictures. There may even be pictures in our school yearbook. Once again, nobody told me. So overall, I've learned, I've grown, I apologize. I hope I don't get canceled. If I do, nobody will remember other than this set here. And once again, like my sex life, just when you start to get into it, I'm finished. Thank you.